Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Amber Marie and AZ. We're going to do a quick stitch along, which I told you in the last video we were going to do. This is, of course, in harmony. No, I'm not always a perfectly monogamous stitcher, just when something is so important to me that it's crazy. But this is the piece I am working on currently. I believe this is out of print. I'm not certain. I will check. If anybody is interested, let me know in the comments, and I will find out. But I've had this for a very long time, and thought that it had been lost with all of my wolf patterns, and just was so ecstatic when I found them all. So, I have to say thank you. I do not know your name yet. I'm so sorry. There is a lady that is a Flosstuber who has the final piece to my collection called the Pack, and she had stitched it and actually won in a fair, I believe, or competition of some sort. And she showed me her finished piece. It was stunning, and it's the same wolves as my piece that's elongated, that's called the Pack. It's put out by a different company, but it's lengthwise. It's, you know, vertical rather than horizontal. So I'm so excited to get that and stitch it and send her photos of it. And I will probably slightly change the colors in it because, of course, I have a fascination with Arctic or white wolves that are actually a type of gray wolf. So I will find out your name, sweetheart, and I will put it in the description below. And I want to thank you so much because she was the first person that was not the administrator who was the first person to welcome me. Thank you very much, Amanda. I very much appreciated everything. And then this young lady is even out of state for her home state and was so sweet and so supportive and welcomed me, and she watched my video. And then Mary Rose from Stitch Bliss Corner, I happen to love her videos, especially her ones on designers, and my favorite are the ones on historical elements to the pieces that we do. My dad was a big history buff, and it brings back wonderful memories for me. So those were the first two of the Flosstubers that watched my videos, and I wanted to say thank you so very much, folks. Anybody who watches these, I'm very grateful. I know that, you know, I'm not the most interesting person, and I'm always doing the same project right now, so it could be a bit boring, but we are going to work on this. I am finishing filling in the final 3 trees on this quarter of the project. Of course, there's only trees on half of the project. And so that is where we're at with this, is that I am finishing filling them in, and at the moment I'm looking at my pattern, making sure that I am not stitching something I shouldn't, because I'm likely to do that if I don't know where I'm going. My worst enemy in stitching this piece is my Eski's hair. Spirit sheds quite a bit, which is unusual for an American Eskimo, but with him having been shaved for the first 4 years of his life, I do not know why somebody would do that, but okay. Maybe they thought they were being kind to him. It isn't, but, you know, hey. Everybody thinks what they think. And it caused him to shed quite a lot. Rather than molting like the wolf in him is supposed to, and having these clumps that I have to remove, which is what I was used to with my puppies. So it's a new thing to find Eski hair all over everything, but hey, it's par for the course, and I have lint rollers. So, you know, it happens. But I wanted to come on and enjoy a little time with you guys. I normally am very quiet and don't talk when I'm stitching. So, because I'm focusing on getting exactly where I want to. Especially this piece of Aida. It is driving me crazy. Is it all dark pieces, guys? But the Aida, the holes seem to be kind of blurred, where there are threads in the midst of the hole, like they've kind of, the thread blossomed and became difficult to see the weft and warp of the cloth. And it seems to be the worst through the center of the cloth, more so than this selvage edge. So, I don't know if it's just all dark colors. So if you know about that, please let me know, because I've not worked a lot of dark pieces. And I have some black that I'm getting ready to do something on that should be kind of fun for all of us. It's going to be very bright colors. An original design that I'm working on. And yes, I will be showing the chart for that, because I am going to welcome you all to screenshot that and stitch that piece anytime you would like. It's just a, hey, I designed this, I hope you enjoy it kind of deal that we're going to do. So, we'll see how that goes. I love jewel tones in my floss colors, in everything, really. My favorite colors are purple and teal, hence the teal sheets, which I have sitting over me in my dress and everything, sitting here, because that way you had somewhat of a color contrast to deal with, rather than just the blankets or my purple dress or whatever. Because I have my daughter's long purple house dress on that I stole from her years ago. Hey, she snags my clothes all the time. So, turnabout's fair play. So, this last little video that I did should be pretty short. I haven't reviewed it yet to see when it's going up, or if it will, or if I'll have to refilm it. But I thought it would be kind of fun if we all, and I don't do tags, so I didn't just make a tag, but we could all show our favorite stitching items, like munchies and you know, things that we use to kind of keep us going and make our stitching more enjoyable. I'm sorry I'm so congested right now, guys. The weather turning warm here so quickly has caused an outbreak of ragweed and barley, and therefore is making it hard for me to breathe. I'm very, very, very congested. So I'm very sorry for that. I know it's not pleasant to hear me this way, but the other choices don't make any videos. So, not that I know if any of you really want them, but hey, I'm trying. I'm making the effort. So, what I'm using here is 2 strands of charcoal and 1 strand of black. I buy more patterns than I do kits, but the only way to get this was a kit, and so that is how we got it. And yes, I could have changed it, but then I spent all that money for no reason. Or my daughter did, whichever. And I just can't see doing that. So, I was watching Ginger Gerald yesterday, and he had a video on copyright, trademark infringement laws. I think he meant to say infringement laws. Concerning patterns, which would be copyright. And I guess the issue he's having is that people are showing their patterns on their videos. That seems to be the issue. You will, at times, see a little bit of a pattern I'm working on because of the way I sit when I'm working. The way I position things for me to be comfortable. But I will never, ever just show an entire pattern unless it's my own design or I have consent to do so from an artist, which I would never have. So it would have to, pretty much it would have to be an original design. And I do design some things. I design a lot of custom knitwear for people and make custom knitted pieces for them. See how stiff this cloth is? It's crazy. And I'm trying to stitch at an angle that you can somewhat see what I'm doing. Not the easiest on me, but if I had camera and tripod rather than phone, it might be a different angle. I don't know. I think I have an idea in my little stitching area in my room, my work area, period. But we'll see how that works out for another video. We shall see. That's what I always told my kids. We shall see. So, but I think that was his point, was that, you know, showing somebody's pattern is not illegal, but it also is not a nice way to do things. The designer deserves to be paid for their work, is his point. Yes, they do. They absolutely do. Making sure I'm where I think I am. I went from there back. Okay. I think that a lot of times designers get cheated, but I also, and musicians, I was a musician and vocalist, so from that perspective I fully understand it. But on the other hand, the other side of this is that somebody's not producing the pattern for the purpose of it being given away. They're just not really maybe focused on the fact or thinking about the fact that somebody could screenshot that on their phone or computer and thereby essentially steal that pattern. So I think that's where the video stemmed, you know, the point of the video was. I don't know what caused him to do that video. It was a good point to make so that maybe newer or younger stitchers or people who don't really understand how much work goes into designing a pattern and how much the designer does not get paid a reasonable amount of money for the amount of hours that go in it. But designing and stitching are labors of love, in my opinion. You don't really do it for the money. You do it because you love what you do, or you love the art, or you want to share the beauty that you see in your perspective of the world. It's the same with music. You're sharing your perspective of emotion. That's truly what it is. Music is an expression of emotion. So I can really understand Gerald's perspective. Gerald, if you ever do watch this, I would love for you to either put it in a video or maybe message me and explain what occurred that made you decide to do that video. I'm rather interested. So, the other thing is that I saw a video done not too long ago by Mary Rose from Stitch Bliss Corner that I understand that a site called Stitch Mania, I have never been on it, Facebook page or site, I don't know what it is. There has been some recent uproar on the site. People not behaving as nicely as they could have, I guess. Like I said, I've never been there. Been on there. So I don't know. But I did watch Coffee Stitcher and hear his perspective of it because I found out what was going on from Danielle at Stitcherista. That there had been a very recent issue. Another thing that I understand went on, and this is what the subject I'm broaching actually was about, was that there has been quite a lot of back shaming going on. And I guess somebody said something to Yanni. Guys, her backs are almost perfect on most of her pieces. It's terrifyingly good. In Europe and in Latin America, these stitching arts are very, very, very important to their cultures. And they are taught from very young age, as was I, that the backs of your pieces need to look as clean as possible, and for needlepoint and embroidery need to look as much like the front as you can possibly manage. They should be nearly identical. But the truth of the matter is, when you are working without knots, which is the proper way, and how I was taught and how I work, it's almost impossible to have the back look just like the front, guys. You got to strand that thread somewhere behind stitches, and most of my stitching, I'm unable to put it in front like Yanni does. She is amazing. Oh my goodness. And I'm getting ready to finally sit down tonight when my high-speed internet is running. Or my daughter's, I should say. Because she's here visiting. I'm going to try and find one of Mary Rose's stitch-alongs because I think she has some of them. I don't know for sure. I will find out. I love listening to these two ladies and watching them stitch. And the same with Danielle at Stitcherista. A lot of videos are kind of slow moving for me. The stitching takes forever, and that just makes me kind of go, And it's nothing against the stitchers, because there are days when I can't stitch fast to save my life. It's that if I'm in a very quick stitching place, then I want to stitch with somebody that stitches more quickly, like me on that day or at that moment. And on days when I'm working slowly, like I am today, because I'm just at a very relaxed pace at the moment, although I'm not relaxed with my grandson running around, then I want to stitch with somebody that's more at the pace I'm stitching with. And I don't think people realize that we do that, but we do. It's something that I learned over the years. I drove people crazy when I would knit and just be doing a constant knit stitch like a hat or something, because my hands move so quickly that people were like, I can't keep up with you. I'm sorry. So then I would try to slow down, and that would cause me to make mistakes. It drove me insane. So I just learned to become a rather solitary knitter. My oldest daughter knits. My oldest child, period. I only have 3. And she knits very quickly as well. So when Tia ever gets time again, Tia, if you ever get to watch this, I would love for us to sit and do some knitting together again. My younger daughter, Sarah, she's my youngest child. I have a son in the middle of those two. She is currently working on a needlepoint project, because she's more of a needlepointer than a cross-stitcher. So, and that's great. If that's the art that works for her, I'm great with that. And the reason it's better for her is her dyslexia. She has trouble with the counting of cross-stitch. So, and stamped cross-stitch drove her nuts because she just wasn't hitting the mark of the stamp the way she wanted to. And I tried to explain to her that's just kind of how it works sometimes. Don't be so hypercritical of yourself. But she, like her mother, is kind of a perfectionist. So, maybe that's my fault. I don't know. I didn't try to teach my kids to be that way because it's no fun. It's no fun to always feel like you have to manage to get everything as perfect as you possibly can. But it is my nature. And I guess I'm that way from starting as a musician at a very, very young age. When you play piano or any instrument publicly, you are taught to rehearse it and rehearse it and rehearse it until you get it exactly right. No mistakes. And you can play it time after time after time without a mistake. I do not encourage that for other people to get into something. Sorry. When my daughter goes in and out, it causes the pups to bark because they don't know who's coming in the door. It happens anytime someone comes to my house. Which, there are days when nobody opens that front door even once. So. And yet, those are not days that I can sit down and film. It never fails. At any rate. What was I saying? I don't know what I was saying. See how that works? So I'm about to come to the end of this little bundle of threads here. this set of threads, however you want to phrase that. And you can hear my daughter talking to her son.
Okay.
Nothing new there. Oh, Piglet.
Yeah. Just get baby to clean up his mess from eating dinner.
And he was getting frustrated because he wanted to put it away because we've always taught him to put his dishes in the sink. But he couldn't figure out where to put this because it was a frozen meal, which is a rare treat. He usually gets very fresh foods. But he didn't know where to put it. He couldn't figure out, does it go in the trash or the recycle?
That he didn't realize that sometimes we'll keep those trays for future meals for him.
Yeah.
And I know that Daddy wanted to keep that one because it's one of the blue ones.
What is it, Danny?
What's up, baby? What you want? Do you want to sit in here?
Okay, you can come sit in here.
Okay, you want to come see what I'm doing?
He's up in my recliner.
Come right, baby.
I have a double rocker recliner. It's a love seat. And his mom sits on one side, never my side. And he's sitting right in the middle of the two where his little butt falls into the line. And I have 5 puppies up on my bed. No spooky. No, you're not going up there. So, yeah, this is my normal life when they're here, guys. Otherwise, my house has the noise of my husband, which drives me crazy because he runs the TV constantly and louder than I do. But that's just, you know, married couples. We're all different.
Now we're going to pick at each other for something.
Well, after all these years.
That's what happens when you live in close quarters with somebody. You have something to bicker about.
So. Oh, for goodness sake. My single black thread wanted to get out of sync with the others. Makes me crazy. That's what I'm saying. The stitch, or the thread magic does not work for me. It doesn't like me, and apparently I don't like it either. So I'm going to really quickly finish this thread with you all, and then I will say goodbye. I don't know how long this video is because I can't see the timer from where I have my phone, which I have sitting in a floor stand that normally holds a piece of work, but instead is holding my phone because that's the only way I can film at this point. This is not a vlog. Anyway, my grandson wants to get in on the act, which if you look at my vlogs, you will see him throughout them. For about 2 years, you saw Danny in all of them, or most of them. But I'm going to finish this thread, set of threads, to the end of this little stitch area, which is like 3 or 4 more stitches. And then I will say goodbye and end this piece and just try to relax in peace and quiet while stitching for a little while. I'm just not good at sitting here talking, guys. I'm sorry. I am if I'm not trying to concentrate on something, but
Mom can be very quiet.
Everybody thinks I do nothing but talk. Because they don't come in my house where I just don't say anything for
hours on end.
Unless it's to the puppies. I'll be like that for days. It's kind of crazy. So there you go. That's the end of this one right here. And on that note, guys, let me show you where we're at. Of course, right side up. See? We have 3 of the trees filled. I didn't realize this was a single little tree, but it is. So the first 3 are filled, and these last 2 will be done before the end of the night. So I will see you all later. Good night. God bless you. My thoughts and prayers are with you. And enjoy your stitching. Just keep stitching. Don't worry about the back chaining thing.
Good night,
you stitch for you. Bye-bye, guys.